Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 27th. We are going to jump right in here. You have this Take Time to Breathe Out card and this Balance Spirituality and Practicality card. We are in a very spiritual time, with Neptune retrograding in Pisces, so I would definitely tap into your spirituality. We're also in a very practical time, especially next month, and I understand that we are not in November yet, believe it or not. I just said for the week of the 27th. But what I would say is that at the beginning of next month on the 9th, or actually technically no, that's wrong. In the middle of the month, in November, we have Uranus retrograding back into Taurus. And so we want to be very practical. I think it's a great time to, if you're going to set out to accomplish something, have a straightforward plan on how you're going to do that, whatever it is that you're doing. And if you stick to the plan, then you can be very successful with Uranus and Taurus. So I would, take advantage of that energy for sure. That will last for a good amount of time into the beginning of the year. So, now is the time to start before the Mercury retrograde, which starts on the 9th. That's what I was talking about at the beginning of November. You start here with the Knight of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Judgment card. Plain and simple, I feel like there's something here. This is your current general energies, this first row. And I feel like there's something you need to take a second look at or look at again or something like that. The Knight of Swords, he can be too hasty or he can be rushing or making decisions too quickly. I don't really get jumping to conclusions energy. That could be part of it. I feel like there's an opportunity or something. You have the Judgment card, Ace of Cups, you have the Chariot, the Ace of Wands. It looks like an opportunity to me, but it's like your first impression might not be completely correct. Sometimes I think we get an opportunity and we're like, that might not be a good thing, or, maybe I don't want to do that. But I feel if you get any opportunities this week in any area of your life, I would just give them a second look. I'm not saying you have to commit to anything or anything like that, but it's definitely popping into my head that you should give something a second look. You have the Page of Wands. All three air signs had this card, so I think that for air signs, it's really important that you practice non-attachment. If I were an air sign, I would definitely be really heavily focused on just kind of allowing things to work in life and not getting too stuck. The problem really is if we get too fixed on an outcome or a certain way that we are going to accomplish something. Because it just keeps us boxed in, and it's a really bad time to feel boxed in. And so I think this is encouraging you to be more creative, more spontaneous, more go with the flow, more willing to have fun, all that other good stuff. Here's the second chance I was talking about. You have the Judgment card. Judgment, of course, can be a wake-up call or a sudden realization. And again, another common theme this week is that people could be having realizations. Now, one thing I will say is that this happens a lot before retrogrades. Before retrogrades, we can, before we actually get into the energy, we're in the shadow of the Mercury retrograde right now. But right before it, I find that a lot of people have sudden insights or realizations or breakthroughs. So and this one in particular seems to be a little bit extra good for that. So if you have any sudden realizations, I would see where they go. I would follow them. If you get any answers, I would take advantage of that. The other thing I would say that I feel for you here, Libra, and I felt this for someone else. I don't remember who. But, it almost seems to me like there could be a quick opportunity for you here at the end of the year. I know this is a weekly reading, but I always say the universe doesn't wear a watch. So, this could be between now and the end of the year. I would pay attention to any opportunities. I would also, I'm also hearing short-term opportunities. It kind of gives me the vibe that some of you could be getting something that you think is a short-term opportunity that turns into a long-term opportunity. It's maybe you get an opportunity to what do you call that? You get an opportunity to intern, at a job or something like that. Maybe it seems like it would be short term, but maybe you do such a good job that it turns into a long term, right? I would, look into those opportunities because I think they would be worth it. I also feel for some of you, it could be just in work in general. Your boss might say, hey, can you do this extra thing for me? And you do it, and then you get a raise because of it. It's kind of popping into my head that way, that you should be looking at those short term opportunities in work. Work especially, because I think that's where it's going to benefit you. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. Say it with me, Libra. Is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Your favorite card that you always get with me. So I definitely feel it's time for you to make some sort of change. I do feel this could be a financial change for sure with that Nine of Pentacles. On a very simple level, the Nine of Pentacles is being able to take care of yourself better. So a lot of you could be making a change that will allow you to take care of yourself better. Yes, with the Page of Wands, you have the Five of Swords. Since the beginning of the year, I literally said in all the 2025 readings that, fortune favors the bold this year, 2025. And we have to be bold, brave, assertive. We have to, if we're going to start something, we have to go all the way. All these things I said at the beginning of the year. Now, this doesn't really, it kind of changes next year, but also not really, because your opposite sign, Aries, right? At the beginning of the year, we're going to have Saturn and Neptune moving back into Aries by the end of February. And especially Saturn in Aries, your opposite sign, wants you to be loud, wants you to be louder, especially in work or your daily routine or what you do for a living or what you just do in your routine during the day. And so, I think those are the risks that Libra should be taking right now. With the Judgment card here, you have the Two of Swords. I would really, like I said, I feel that this week the main message off this first row is that you're giving something like a longer look, like an opportunity. It could be any type of opportunity. Two of Swords is like this or that thinking, but really something is going to go this way, over here, on this island behind her. So she might, her first impression of something, I don't think the reading is saying your first impression is wrong. But I think what it is saying is there's more to the story. And, so I think it would be worth it. And like I said, this could be a job or you're just interning or something like that. Or maybe some of you have that opportunity and it could turn into something much bigger. Maybe you start a hobby that could turn into something much bigger in the future, right? It's this channel has always been a hobby for me. It's still a hobby. I just do it for fun. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it. Plain and simple, right? But I started it just for fun. It was nothing. I never thought it would be anything. Or at least this big, right? And so, it's you never know sometimes where these hobbies go. And I apologize. It's not a leaf blower today. It's the what do you call it? The lawn mower is what they're running today for you, Libra. You have this Centaur card. It says Untamed. This is coming up in the area of what's coming in for you. You have the Centaur card. It says Untamed Nature, Marksmanship, and Master Teacher. You have this Imagination card. It says Creativity, Inner Child, and Inspiration. Yes, creativity is a keyword for air signs, especially once we get into next year, but I would start now. There's no reason to wait, but I do feel air sign creativity is kind of on fire and it's coming up for you, so I would be using your creativity. don't be afraid to be ridiculous is kind of what I feel like saying here. We kind of have to be a little bit ridiculous. You have the Chariot. The thing about the Chariot is that he is going against the grain, and it's your outcome card right here, Libra. And so the Chariot, everybody is the same inside that city behind him, and he's going against the city. He is doing something completely different. He is moving in a completely new direction. So sometimes with the Chariot, it's to have a victory, we have to be willing to be creative and a little bit ridiculous, right? I think here this Marksmanship card is picking a point. One of my favorite things for air signs to do just in general is pick some goal that you want to accomplish and just work towards it. It's the best thing for you. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, and the Four of Cups. The Nine of Pentacles, of course, is gratitude and luxuries and success. It is also your focus. She has this falcon right here, and she is picking a focus, and she's just training her focus. She is making her focus on something so that she can be successful. I also feel, as always, Libra, your environment, the more that you can create an environment of success around you, the better. I know I say that every single reading, but every reading you get the Seven of Pentacles or the Nine of Pentacles or both. So, both energies are critically important, I think, for Libra. And, the Nine of Pentacles is about, kind of creating heaven on earth. And it doesn't say you have heaven on earth, but it does say that you could do things to make life a little bit more like heaven on earth, which would make your life better. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is like self-imposed restriction, holding yourself back. Yeah, we definitely, I wouldn't worry too much about this right now, although I would start practicing. I would unleash the beast here, Libra, and I would make sure that you're not holding yourself back in any area of your life. Again, we don't have to be necessarily ridiculous with that energy, but with Saturn and Aries, speaking your mind, speaking up, sharing your thoughts, putting your work out into the world, all that stuff would be really good for you, and because it's what you need to do or will need to do with Saturn in Aries next year. But I would start now, because you will get the benefits early. The Eight of Swords is also can represent something that is stuck, and you go up here to the Eight of Cups, so I'm not even too worried about it. And you have the Chariot, which is a card of overcoming an obstacle or setting yourself free. But you could definitely be getting an answer on how to set yourself free this week. You have the Four of Cups. Yeah, it's like dissatisfaction, really, is what I feel. Sometimes I think the Four of Cups is like boredom, but it's like the type of boredom where it's like you're bored, but you're more dissatisfied, if that makes sense. It's like, you're just trying to find things to excite you in your life, or you're trying to find things that motivate you or get you out of bed in the morning. And that is more the feeling I have for you on this card. It's like I don't really feel like, he could be worried about past disappointments, but I feel for you, it's more like you are trying to return to that, that zest for life, that excitement that maybe you feel like you have lost. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Cups, sorry. I had a crazy migraine last night that kept me up all night, and my brain is still a little messed up here, but you have the Seven of Cups, and, this can represent being spoiled for choice. Intuitively, what I feel for you is that I think you have more options to accomplish something that you're trying to accomplish with that Chariot than you realize. And, I think that goes along with the whole practicing non-attachment with the Page of Wands. It really doesn't matter how he accomplishes his goal. He doesn't even care. He just starts working towards the goal. And I feel it's like encouraging you to stay flexible. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I do feel this for you, that you could be taking bigger steps, here, Libra. I also feel for you that it's like you could be making bigger investments. I feel like I said this to you recently. I'm kind of having deja vu here on this card, but it's like, we'll just use YouTube as an example. I'm not saying you have a YouTube channel, but it's like instead of starting a YouTube channel with one video, it's like, could you start it with like 2 or 3, instead of 1? That's what I mean by bigger steps. It's like, whatever you're working on or creating or doing in life, could you just take maybe one extra step? I don't even think you have to go crazy here or anything. I just feel it's saying like that those one extra steps on things will probably help you make a bigger impact and will move you forward faster. And, I feel like the Six of Pentacles is really encouraging you to do that. With the Four of Cups, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yes, I would definitely give an opportunity a second look, for sure. whatever this opportunity is. We have 3 aces right here, which is amazing, Libra. 3 aces is definitely very positive and, can represent a new beginning. But the Ace of Pentacles is an opportunity that has the potential for growth. The Four of Pentacles can just be like worried about it, or can be you thinking that it's not a great opportunity. I also think excitement is a problem for a lot of people right now, because Neptune's retrograde in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is a contradiction in the first place. When it's retrograde, it's an extra contradiction. It's like with Neptune and Pisces, to get started on something, we have to feel inspired. If we don't feel inspired, we're probably not going to start. The problem is that to get inspired, we have to start. And it's like, how the hell is that even possible, right? So I'm not even going to sugarcoat the astrology. But, the trick is, if you think that something is an opportunity, just know that you might not be super excited about it at first. It doesn't mean you don't like it. It just means that maybe you don't feel inspired, or, you're having a hard time getting started. But if you get started, then the inspiration can come. And if the inspiration does come, then keep going. If it doesn't come, then, look for something else. And I would really pay attention to that. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Capricorn card. It says achieve on it. You have this Pisces card. It says sensitize. Yeah, pay attention to your feelings. Definitely a good time for achievement. It's like a weird time for achievement as well. If we're trying to achieve something just to, get another notch on the belt, so to speak, or, if we're trying to do something for money, it's probably we're not going to feel inspired to do it. if we're doing things for the right reasons, then the money will come, the success will come, maybe a little bit slower, but this is about trusting your feelings, and that's what we have to do right now. Is we really have to trust how we feel, and that's what I would do. Also, Libra, make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. In this row for your future self, you have the Eight of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Four of Wands. The Eight of Cups is about, cutting out the crap, removing the things that you don't want to do anymore, and doing the things that you do want to do. Really, it's just that simple. It isn't always easy, but, the Eight of Cups is about trying to create those opportunities. I always tell people, it's like, if there was ever a time where you could go to your boss and be like, hey, I'm really good at doing these, 3 things, and, all this other stuff you make me do, there's no point. Why don't I just double down on this stuff here? I'm not saying it would work, but, if there was ever a time where that could work, it would be right now. So, I encourage people to, really, that's what I mean when I say create your own reality. It's I think the other thing about Neptune and Pisces is, traditional rules. The thing about Neptune and Pisces is that it dissolves things that don't make sense. And there are billions of things that we all do just because. Maybe there's no real good reason, or maybe because we were raised a certain way, or maybe things happen at work because they've always been done a certain way, but is it the best way? Maybe not. And, Neptune and Pisces, especially the end, we're at the end, that we will not have Neptune and Pisces again in our lifetimes. We'll be dead the next time Neptune comes back around, unless you're a baby right now, which I doubt I have any 0-year-olds watching this, right? So what I would say, maybe you're watching this with your baby, that's fine. So tell your baby when they get older that I said this, but Neptune retrograde, again, we can kind of realize that certain things aren't worth it any longer, and we have to dissolve those structures, but also we have to challenge those traditional beliefs. You have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups can be a love offer. There's a little bit of love here if you want it, Libra. So definitely could be a new connection. The Ace of Cups is also about doing more things that cause you to overflow. So again, if you're doing things that you don't want to be doing, how can you create the reality where you can just focus on the things that you want to do that actually work, right, in life? And the Ace of Cups is about being able to reach down into this water and being able to fill yourself back up. So it's like a self-filling cup. And it's about doing the things you can do endlessly. And so the more you can do that, the better. You have the Four of Wands. Four of Wands can be marriage, but Four of Wands is also a card of freedom. Again, I believe Neptune and Pisces, even though it doesn't seem like it right now, I do feel that it is getting us started to create more freedom in life. Also, Uranus retrograding in Taurus is freedom. It is like setting yourself free, or needing to set yourself free. So, I think a lot of you could be setting yourself free. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Pretty good here, Libra. I think you have the opportunity to really take control of your fortunes. The Eight of Cups, he is taking control of his reality. Those 8 cups no longer serve him. He's walking away from those 8 cups. He doesn't know if he's going to change his life. Some people say he's walking towards the 9 of Cups, but again, he doesn't know that. He just knows that his current situation no longer serves him. And so I think a lot of you could be kind of choosing to take control of your reality. And clearly, this could be leading to a quick victory here. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Devil card. The Devil can be toxic energy, of course. Yeah, I mean, really, I think this row is kind of saying, don't do things you hate. I know that's not always easy. I know that if you have a job, for example, you can't just tell your boss, I'm not going to do this because I hate it. But you could start the negotiation. You could start talking about it. You could start telling your boss, I'm good at these things, not these things, like I said. And, I'm not saying it's going to work right away, but I do feel the more you can do more of what you love and enjoy, the better. With the Four of Wands, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, Five of Wands can be conflict and competition. We're kind of in a time of co-creation, but again, we have contradictory energy. So we are in a time where the universe wants us to co-create, Pluto and Aquarius, but we might be experiencing more competition. The trick is to study the competition, see what they're doing and what they're not doing, and then double down on whatever they're not doing. If you do that, you will set yourself apart with the Chariot and have a victory. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Ultimate Fulfillment card. It says, you are now entering a time of peace, happiness, and emotional fulfillment. Love it. You have this crescent moon. It says, as the moon grows, so can your wealth, health, and happiness. Stay positive. Yes. So I think you are entering into a good time here, Libra, and I think things are going to be improving. You have the Chariot, the Ace of Wands, and the Page of Swords. The Chariot, of course, is charging towards a victory. I think for you, it's about setting yourself apart, going against the grain, breaking tradition, doing things, mixing things up, being a little bit of a rebel, for sure. Uranus in Gemini is rebellious energy, and you are definitely going to be more affected as an air sign than, most other people, except for Gemini. But, it's going to be beneficial for you. And I would say, breaking the rules, being a rebel at this time is what the Chariot wants you to do. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. So I think a lot of you could be letting go of old ideas. We have 3 aces here. 3 aces is a big yes to any question I haven't answered. It's also, new opportunity. And I feel that there could be a creative new opportunity that is inspirational. Like I said, I think the challenge for Libra is to get to that point where something is inspiring for you. And, especially for those of you that have been thinking about starting something or doing something recently over the past few years, if there's something that is a constant in your life, if there's something that you always think about that you haven't started yet, now could be a good time to get started. You have the Page of Swords. Yeah, it's like, again, the whole zest for life thing. The thing about the Page of Swords is, he's coming up in the good stuff, and he is curious. So if there are things in life that make you think, that make you curious, that make you want to explore, those are the topics that I would focus on in your life at this time. I also do feel this could be new love. Someone might have their eye on you. They might not be approaching you yet. Page of Swords and the good stuff can say someone is interested. But are they doing anything yet? I don't think so. I think they will do something maybe in the future. With the Chariot, you have the 3 of Wands. Yeah, all about expansion. Expanding past your limitations, the traditional prison or whatever you want to call it. The 3 of Wands does kind of want us to take a little bit of a leap of faith. We have to get on these boats on the ocean here, and we have to expand with the universe. So, that's definitely what I would be doing with the 3 of Wands. Like I said, this could also, I kind of feel there's one main message, which is that there's an opportunity you need to take another look at here in this reading. The thing with the 3 of Wands is that it can be an opportunity that's going somewhere else. It's we think we're going this direction. 3 of Wands, those boats are pointing out of the harbor, so we can feel like an opportunity that comes is taking us away from something we think we want, or we can think that, I don't know enough to get on those boats, but really the secret is you do. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, very spontaneous energy here. The reading wants you to be spontaneous. I think it wants you to kind of just see where things go. Could also be attracting a fire sign for those of you that want love, but I think the important thing here is being spontaneous. He also has these pyramids here, which represent mystery, and I do think it would be an excellent time for you to dig into mysteries, anything you don't know, anything you want to know. I would be exploring those things with the Page of Swords. With the Page of Swords, you have the 9 of Cups. Yeah, 9 of Cups can be fulfillment or wish fulfillment coming in for you. So I feel for a lot of you, there could be a wish. It seems to me like it's a wish that you're creating with that Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is good, right? But I really feel with that 8 of Cups, it's saying you're taking control of your destiny at this time. That is what will lead to the wish. And again, 8 of Cups, he doesn't know he's walking towards the 9 of Cups, but, we have the 9 of Cups here. So this would kind of say that you are walking towards wish fulfillment or some sort of wish, just in general. But let's see. You have this kangaroo. It says, unsettled times need to plan ahead. Yes, until 2033. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're in a time of chaos until 2033 when Uranus leaves Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is revolution. We will see crazy things happening. We already have. And so we'll see more. I think the trick is to focus on yourself. You have this crown. It says honor and respect will come to you. So definitely could be a good time for you to become an authority or to gain respect in life or work or whatever. You have this boot. It says increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. I told you. I'm telling you, I don't even think you have to increase your efforts that much. The reading is saying to me one extra step You know, if you're thinking about starting something, just like one extra thing, I think it'll make all the difference in the world. So there you go. You have this bat. It says, take care, enemies are working against you. Yeah, you're going to be dealing with jealousy. I do think that Uranus and Gemini energy in general can sometimes bring up jealousy. I would just ignore it. You have this grasshopper. It says, situation in the balance that requires careful handling. Again, I think one more step, right? It's a grasshopper. They take big leaps, right? And so taking a big leap at this time would be good for you, Libra. But this looks pretty good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.